All right, now for the Department of Transportation, which as you can see on the chart is really mostly the FAA. In fact, this is the most skewed share of IT funding for almost any subcomponent, and that's for one major reason, NextGen. Now, we are going to talk more about specific NextGen programs in a few slides, but what it is really the FAA's effort to modernize how the U.S. conducts its air travel. And unlike many other federal departments, you're going to notice there is a hefty amount of DME funding here, and pretty much all of that goes to the FAA. Now, for contractors, most of the folks you see here are doing major work on, what else? The NextGen program. Now, you'll notice that really mostly the FAA, they do like to use their own vehicles. So partnerships with EFAST MOA vendors will be key for those who are looking to unlock some of these systems integrator puzzles at FAA. And you're definitely going to want to be involved with folks like Harris, Lockheed, and Raytheon because they are doing a lot of the NextGen systems development. One noteworthy contractor that I would like to call out up here is ActionNet because they are actually working with the OCIO at DOT. So that's something for those of you who do not cover the FAA to be aware of.
DOT is making an aggressive push to evaluate their entire infrastructure for cloud readiness. The current goal is to fully virtualize the infrastructure supporting the smaller agencies, really everybody but FAA, while at the same time looking for cloud options on 100% of DOT's portfolio by the end of FY15. This is a clear example of an agency moving towards that open, modern technology stack that the Digital Services Playbook is talking about. And you can really expect it to play out in two ways. First of all, be prepared to deal with central data center facilities, especially at the smaller agencies where data center consolidation is more or less complete. Secondly, be prepared to explain how your products can help FAA reach their cloud spending goals, especially if you can operate within the confines of a government-private cloud infrastructure. In business and operations, we see requirements in FY15 for applications that help DOT deal with the vast amount of data that it takes in every day. This is especially true at FAA, who are looking for forensic data processing, case management, and incident tracking tools in order to help them better track anomalous flight patterns and perform accident investigations. We're also seeing a need for data integration and workflow management within the air traffic organization to address some weaknesses there in information sharing and collaboration. And finally, on the big data front, your primary target will be the FAA NextGen investments. Each component of that overall umbrella will handle huge amounts of flight or other transportation data, and it has to be able to process, manage, and visualize that data in near real time, as well as sharing it with internal and external stakeholders. That means that the full range of big data and analytics capabilities will be required here, as well as some supporting middleware and integration technologies. A group to target here outside of FAA is the Federal Highway Administration, which is looking for a tool to integrate and analyze highway maintenance data this year to ensure that their limited maintenance dollars are spent on high-priority projects. So the Department of Transportation is led by the Secretary Anthony Fox and his Deputy Victor Mendez. And you've got two real entities that are worth looking at here. There's the OCIO's office, and that is a little bit more of a policy shop led by Richard McKinney, and the FAA, which is led by Michael Huerta. Now, also, please don't get too attached to this org chart because we are hearing some buzz about spinning the FAA off into a quasi-public entity. We could see studies on that as soon as fiscal year 16. Next is the Office of Information and Technology at FAA, which is really their CIO group and is led by Tina Amorine. A few offices to pay attention to here. The Office of IT Optimization, headed up by Larry Grossman. You'll want to target them with cost savings messages, particularly around BPM, legacy infrastructure maintenance, and legacy application and infrastructure integration. The same requirements exist at the facilities supported by the Office of IT Regional Infrastructure, which is led by Linda Price. And finally, cybersecurity vendors in the audience will want to reach out to the Office of Information Systems Security, headed up by Melanie Bottler.
So the NextGen organization oversees the lion's share of the department's DME budget, and it's led by Edward Bolton. Now, some offices to look forward here include the Management Services Office, led by Jamie Figueroa, which handles financial and HR management for NextGen, and the NAS Systems Engineering Group, and that's a specific CIO office for the NextGen program, led by Michelle Merkel. Now, most of the programs we are going to talk about in the next few slides will roll up to Michelle and her group.
And the first of those is the Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast, or ADSB, investment. At its heart, this is a big data tool. It processes and disseminates air traffic information to pilots and air traffic controllers. It's also the central hub for the NextGen portfolio, and the end vision here is for every other piece of supporting technology to report data into ADSB in order to centrally manage, analyze, and share that data with internal and external stakeholders. That really means that there are potential requirements here everywhere from application development and lifecycle management through to data management, integration, and analytics. We see specific needs this year for those app dev capabilities and testing, as well as assistance with the development of the Ground Interval Management Spacing, or GIMS component, an in-house developed data management tool that is currently well behind schedule and over budget. So look for a potential COTS replacement there.
Now let's take a look at the NextGen R&D portfolio, and that's really an umbrella line item that covers innovative technology and R&D for the NextGen environment. And the program is realigning a little bit this year. It's going to have a more portfolio-driven approach to application development rather than its previous siloed approach. Now, this is the type of investment that we find really exciting because it represents over $160 million in pure DME funding that can be used for anything that the FAA might need to supplement and improve the NextGen program. Now, if you've got cutting-edge technologies that other groups in government are leery of trying because they're new, this right here is your opportunity to sell those tools.
And finally, Datacom, which is the telecommunications and information exchange component that allows all the NextGen data we've been talking about to flow between systems and into ADSB. Infrastructure and telecommunications vendors will want to reach out to Jesse Winty this year and discuss how your tools can operate in a high-impact, mission-critical telecommunications environment. This is an area of opportunity from a contracting perspective as well, and that's because the ERAM development contract, which is a supporting component here, is up for competition in the coming months. Jesse's group is also working on design documentation and requirements definition for future components. So again, telecommunications and infrastructure vendors will want to get in touch and help shape some of those.